So we're live.
We are live.
Today's topic is traveling. Basically, why you should travel, how to get started with traveling, how to pack, how to plan, how to book tickets, how to get there. Well, we're just going to share, how we've been, how we've traveled over the last few years, some of the things we've done to get going, and what we've been packing and that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
It's a pretty big topic. I mean, we've been traveling a lot, and we've gotten a really good way we do things now, I think. Kind of procedure we go through every time we, from where it begins in the back of our head to when we're actually there. It's quite fun, and at least I know you love the process of actually getting ready to travel and all the ideas of where to travel and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's a nice part of traveling, actually. If you're watching this, of course, on YouTube, which we always make these videos we make these live streams every month, and then we post them on YouTube later after they've been posted on Patreon, because this is only for people that are on our Patreon supporter page. So if you want to join the next live hangout, of course, you can always go to patreon.com. There's a link in the description where you can sign up to join us live and in the chat, basically. Before we get started, Diane, I see she's already asked us a question, and I will answer it. But before I do that, I want to ask how's the quality, because we had, as usual, some technical challenges, possibly. Says that the stream isn't good in this. I don't know. It says that my computer is pretty slow. Oh, hey, Anetta, you're here as well. Does that mean the stream is good, or
is it victory?
Or is it just low? Vegan.
Yeah.
Victory for vegans.
Regardless, we do have a small thing here, and it does seem to be somewhat up to date. So
it looks like it. As usual, just tell us if something goes wrong with the stream. All right, Diane, thank you. It's good. So first of all, I just want to quickly answer a question. It's off topic. No, it's not that off topic. Diane, she asks why I was vaccinated and what it was for. And she's sorry that I got sick. Thank you. I just made a video about it, actually. I just posted it now. So you can watch that later and you'll get the in-depth answer. But quickly, I was bit by a dog, and I was, I had to basically either take a risk, and if the dog had rabies, I would die, or I took the vaccine. So I decided to take the vaccine, and I'm talking about it in the video, so you can check that out and get the whole story.
It was the Verorab vaccine.
Verorab vaccine. It was no fun. No fun at all. But I'm getting better, and we'll touch quickly on vaccines a little bit later in this video, in this stream, because it's relating to traveling, of course. But for now, let's get started. I'm glad all is good with you, Anetta, and it is Saturday.
Everyone loves Saturdays, except me, who never remember it's Saturday.
Mats never knows what day it is or what month it is, and usually you know what year it is, though. Usually. I like Mondays, actually. I've started to really like Mondays, because that's just, I'm not in a crappy job that I hate. I wake up Monday morning and I'm like, a new week of awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it.
What is the first thing that makes you want to travel? I guess that's the thing. You get an idea.
You have to find out whether, you start sort of, there's an idea spawning in your head, saying, I want to travel.
It might be that you're being like, oh God, I got to get out of this country. Where do I travel to? Or it can be just inspiration for traveling to a specific place.
Because traveling is an art in itself. It's very much fun to travel. Of course, we all like it. I actually think that there's something in the human genetics that makes us enjoy the process of moving around.
Yeah.
Some kind of a nomadic instinct, maybe, I don't know, moving around with the seasons. But for us now, it's I was, I'm sleeping out in the garden in a little garden house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very cold. It's like 2 degrees Celsius out now. So I have this little heater, of course, in the little house, and I had to go out now to turn it on because I'm going to go to bed in a couple of hours, and I want it to be warm by that time. So I was just out in the cold, and I was just like, oh my God, it's definitely about time to leave.
Yeah.
And we are leaving.
We are.
We are going to La Palma.
Yeah, in 2 days.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. Looking forward to it.
So we're just in the middle of that process, actually, of
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to travel and all that stuff. And the time is right. It's not good to be in Norway right now, health-wise. But I've enjoyed it up to this point in time, and I like seeing the leaves turn yellow and red, and it's worth it up to this point. And then now we have to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
To get some fruit and some sunshine back into our lives, which we very much look forward to. So that's our motivation for travel.
Yeah. I kind of lost my thought.
Yeah, well, we are inspired about traveling
Mm-hmm.
because things are going bad. So for you, it could be anything, but maybe you're in a place where you need to go somewhere during the winter. And that's the main inspiration for people who like to be healthy.
Yeah.
Matt says, I'd love to live in Hawaii, but as a software developer, I cannot make enough money to do it with a family, including 4 children. Seattle pays way more and has way more jobs. Okay, well, if that's your reality, then that is your reality. I do think, though, that it is a choice. You choose your reality. You choose what you believe is true. And if you believe that is true, then it is true. But I'm also 100% sure that if you really wanted to move to Hawaii, you could figure out how to make that work despite the challenges. But this may sound arrogant, I'm telling you what you should do or anything, and that's not my intention. I'm sure as long as you are content with the choices you make, then it's good, because we all make compromises.
Mm-hmm.
But we can do anything we like. But I'm sure there must be some other choices. I know what you mean. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so what happens after the initial idea, I want to travel? What happens after that?
Well, probably you start thinking about where to go.
That's right, yeah.
And obviously there's many options. We have a tendency to go to tropical places, especially during winter, because it's just the natural thing to do. It's getting dark and gray and rainy.
Yeah, it started for us as a kind of health. Actually, it started as a fruit focus. We were getting excited about raw food, fruit, and of course we wanted adventure. Who doesn't? Mm-hmm. And we just decided we're going to go traveling way back. But we did another hangout a few months earlier, right, where we talked about our story and how we started traveling.
Yeah.
So that you can go back and look at that. But yes, starting to decide on a location.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Well, that's easy. You just go wherever you're most excited to go.
Yeah. And it's a good idea to try to figure out what kind of place it is beforehand, that it has all the things you want in the place. Like, obviously, is it a good place for fruit? Is it, we're obsessed with libraries and I don't know.
Well, we like to have a library available. It's not that we totally obsess about libraries. But we like to have the facilities of a library, of a gym available.
So we tend to check out, like, does the closest city have these facilities? That's a factor for deciding where to go.
Mm-hmm. I think you can sit a little bit closer, because when I look at the picture, you're sort of out of it and I'm in the middle. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's kind of you. So you find what you're most excited about. You look at the different things that you want from your trip, and then you start to try and choose a place.
Yeah.
But of course, depends all what type of traveling you're doing, because for us this is a normal thing. Like we always travel a lot, and then especially this part of the year. So for us now, this is like, okay, where are we going to relocate?
Yeah.
La Palma is the choice. Okay, we know what we need to do. But other times, and at least for first-time travelers, you have this kind of it's more of an adventure kind of thing, you know. And speaking of which, you know, most of you probably know, but I wrote a book. You helped me with a lot of facilitating the book. I did the writing, which is called The Way of the Fruitful Traveler. And there's going to be a link in the description.
It's pretty much about all we know about traveling.
All things travel, how to pack, how to plan, everything we're talking about today basically is in that book in depth. So I suggest if you're a first-time traveler, or even if you're a long-term traveler, you might want to check out that book, because it's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes. At least it's an entertaining read, I think. I hope so. So you choose a place. Okay, let's suppose you find a place that you're super excited about, or that you just feel is appropriate. Now the next step would be to start thinking about when.
And for how long.
We
have basically been just going to places and not knowing when we're going back.
Because that's the thing. You don't necessarily need to figure out how long.
No.
You can actually just go. That's actually the most fun, when you just go and you don't know how long, and you don't have your return ticket.
Yeah. We do kind of have a general idea of how long we're going to go away for, though. I mean, we probably are going to be back in Norway by April, but everything can change, and we haven't ordered tickets back yet. So,
and before that, we're gonna go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
No.
So we know this time around, we know when we're going and when we're coming home. But again, it depends on your trip. If you're going on an adventure, and if you're going to go out with a light backpack, by the way, ultralight backpacking, also a lot of that in the book, and that's really important to enjoy your trip. But again, we'll get into packing. If you're going on that adventure kind of thing, you might just want to go without knowing when you're coming home, because that's exciting. You just one-way tickets. You're just off into the world and see what happens, see what comes your way. Be spontaneous. For us, it's more of a nomadic relocation at this point, right now, rather than a journey of. But there's always exciting adventures that await when you go traveling anyway. So, but suppose you found your destination, you know when you want to go.
Well, you don't necessarily know exactly when you want to go, because that's, in terms of ordering tickets, it's really nice to be flexible, because that can bring your price down from like even half your price.
Yeah. From one day to the next, from 1 week to the next, from 1 month to the next.
Yeah.
Prices change a lot. Not saying over time, but that happens too. But I'm saying like September prices. You know, you're in. Like, let's say right now we're in October. December prices might be really expensive because it has to do with Christmas, whereas January prices might be really cheap. That sort of thing. And one day to the next. So should we get into that then, booking tickets?
Yeah.
Before we do, though, we can mention that we are usually late with booking tickets.
Because it's so boring.
It's very boring. And it's, it could be fun too, but again, if you're doing it as much as we do, it gets boring. It's just to actually do the booking, and it's painful to spend money. So it's like, oh my god, so much money. But it doesn't have to be much money. There's a lot of cheap tickets out there.
We had some crazy deals. I mean, we got from Norway to Thailand once for, how much was it?
It's like $150. $200 per person one way. That's really cheap. Halfway across the earth.
Yeah.
But where do we book tickets, and how do we do it?
Well, obviously in the modern age, we go to the internet instead of travel agencies.
If you haven't heard about the internet, it's basically oh no, that's right, it's a live stream.
Of course.
That's a funny joke.
Oh yeah. And then you go to the internet, and we use a site called skyscanner.com. And that, I feel like, is probably the best tip I can give anyone for looking for tickets, because A lot of people, especially older generations, have a tendency to go to like specific flight, what's it called? Flight companies,
airlines.
sites. Yeah, airlines sites.
Yeah.
So, for example, Norway has a company called Norwegian, and our mother is always going to Norwegian.com and checking out the prices from going from here to there.
And I do too, actually.
Sometimes. But the point is, if you go to skyscanner.com, or there are other sites as well, they check up all the different flight companies' page.
It's a comparison page, basically.
Mm-hmm. So you get a super good overview of.
You get the cheapest tickets, basically. You find the actual cheapest tickets.
Yeah.
Likely. Here's a tip, though, for booking tickets. And I just recently made a video, actually, about booking tickets. So that'll come out soon. But just to mention it here as well. You might want to go from, I'm just going to use an example that's relevant to us. We want to go from Oslo to Costa Rica. There's no direct flight. So we're going to fly from Oslo to New York and New York to Costa Rica, or Oslo to Florida, Florida, Costa Rica. This might not show up on Skyscanner.com, this combination. It might or it might not. And, you know, who knows, maybe you will fly Oslo, New York, Florida, Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. There are combinations that sometimes you can put together yourself that will be cheaper than what it finds for you. So you might think of it like this. Okay, I fly from Oslo to New York. You find a cheap flight for that section, and then you look independently for New York, Costa Rica, or something like that. So you don't rely completely on what you find there, but be a little bit flexible in terms of how you put together your flight. Mm-hmm. And another tip is that sometimes, you know, you might arrive in New York, Oslo, New York, and the next flight is, let's say, 4 hours later, and it's a certain price. But sometimes you can find a price that is way cheaper the next day from New York. Mm-hmm. And it might be worth actually staying overnight, staying in a hotel, maybe doing even a couple of days. You get a couple of days in New York, walking around, hang out with Diane and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then you go to to Costa Rica. So, or if you're really hardcore like we've been in the past, and I've started to really hate that, and that is to sleep in airports.
Yeah, I've actually vowed never to sleep on an airport again, because it's frankly terrible.
Yeah,
but it is an option, and I suggest you try it if you haven't done so before, because you might not think it's too bad.
Yeah, it's you just sleep in airports. This is like you get a free night, mm-hmm. But
and usually no one's gonna act. In fact, there's a site called I think it's just sleepingonairports.com, but search for it in Google. Yeah. And you can look up airports around the world to see what the status is like.
The conditions and how they respond to people sleeping.
People usually comment and stuff.
Yeah, it's usually accepted to sleep in airports. It's socially accepted. Mm-hmm. But it is hard, hard surface. It's cold sometimes, often. It's noisy. It's stressful. You're tired after a long flight. You have another flight next day. It is generally extremely unhealthy and terrible. But, if you want to save a buck, you can do it. But you can also just get a hotel, which is what we've started to do, to actually prioritize our health over our money. Yeah. But it all depends what you want and what the situation is. But okay, so...
Have any of you guys slept at airports before?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let us know.
Or tried to sleep on the plane? Oh, God.
Plane. I can't sleep at planes. Can any of you guys sleep in airplanes? I know we just can't do it.
No. We've tried all sorts of different contraptions.
Yes.
But yeah.
So, yes. So combine your booking intelligently and experiment and look around and try different dates and move it around back and forth, up and down. Mm-hmm. That way you get a cheap price. Maybe you have lots of money to spend and you don't care and you just book the tickets.
Mm-hmm. But don't forget that there are certain days the tickets might be cheaper.
When you're booking.
Yes.
The actual certain days when you book the tickets, it ends up being cheaper.
Yeah. You got those dates in the head? I don't
know. There's something about airlines and when they launch their campaigns and that sort of thing. And so it turns out, I think like Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time or something is like the best time of the week to book tickets. That's when you are most likely to find cheap tickets. Whereas booking on the weekend is the least likely to find cheap tickets. So look over the course of a week, and sometimes the prices will change. Matt says he can sleep on airplanes if he got sleeping pills.
I think a lot of people can.
Yeah, well, the thing is with sleeping pills is that, of course, you'll fall asleep, but you're not actually sleeping very well. You're more drugged than you're actually sleeping, and so your body will actually have to recover from that process a little bit. So you might just be better off not sleeping than sleeping with sleeping pills. But yeah,
12-hour flight from LA to Manila. Yeah, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, we did Costa Rica, New York overnight, then New York, Oslo, Thailand in one go.
Yeah, that was
horrible.
Death. And I got sick. I started to get a cold the day we left Costa Rica, so I was like having fever on the flight and stuff. Diane. Yes, once I was so tired I fell asleep while sitting in a chair. Yeah, that's
that can happen. Our dad, he tells us that he ending.
Yeah.
At one point and when he was in the military, and they had this long like 3 days of being awake or something, and he was sleeping, leaning on the gun or something
like it. That's
and Grant Campbell, the Royal Aussie athlete, he tells us that he's fallen asleep while running. I don't know what to think, but it's possible. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but it's probably just for a fraction of a second.
Yeah, he said he was just like saying that he lost part of the run and like blacked out almost, but continued to run.
Doesn't sound good though.
No,
not healthy, but probably a lot of fun. So okay, tickets are booked at least a month in advance, I'd say, to get the best prices.
Yeah,
but if you book them 3 months in advance, it's probably going to be even cheaper. But not necessarily. You might also find cheaper prices right before you're leaving, but then you're less flexible, and so you have to figure out what works. It would be cool to meet you, Diane, in an airport. If you had a layover there, I could bring you some fruit.
That would be we'll remember.
We'll keep that in mind, because it's going to happen at one point. That would be cool.
Fruit is to find on an airport, as we all know.
In Russia,
green bananas.
When we had a layover in Moscow, not a layover, I don't know if that's what it's called, but it was just a few hours in Moscow on the way home from Thailand. And they had fresh orange juice squeezing machines all over the airport. Well, at least 2. I saw 2 of them, I think, or maybe it was just 1. But oranges in a machine, you get fresh squeezed oranges. That's pretty impressive. We didn't get orange juice though. It's usually so sour.
But we did find bananas.
We did find bananas. It's getting better and better, I think. It's just now it's a matter of finding ripe fruit rather than just finding fruit. It's possible to find fruit, but ripe fruit, that's another story. But as we talked about in other videos, if you can't find fruit in the airport and you didn't plan well enough ahead of time to bring your own food, there's always a vegan option there. You'll always be able. There is always. You can always find some rice, or you can always.
As long as you're creative.
As long as you're creative and go to the restaurants and ask, can I get this? Can I get that? Can I get some potatoes? If you're willing to eat that sort of food. So you're not going to starve. And some people fast. I've never really been into doing that when I'm traveling, but you'll get through it. But that's another talk. All right. Tickets are booked. The date is set. So now you just go on with your life. And then you come closer to the leave date, and you have to start first of all, you have to start planning a little bit on what you're going to do when you arrive. Maybe, but we usually don't. No, but of course we don't. We've already booked tickets in La Palma, a hotel in La Palma when we arrive. That sort of thing. You have to plan a little bit what you're going to do when you arrive. So I guess that's the main thing, accommodation when you arrive. And in terms of that, we have definitely figured out that it's super important to have at least 2 days before moving on. Yes. When you arrive.
Yeah, that means that say you're going to Thailand and have never been to Bangkok before, or even you're going to Thailand and you're going you're going to an island in Thailand. You land in Bangkok, and going to take the train the next day. But the thing is, don't take it the next day. Do 2 days at least.
Yeah, we have a 2-night rule, which is whenever we arrive somewhere new, we always book 2 nights. That way you wake up, because if you don't, you wake up the next day after a long flight, you sleep, and then you wake up jet lagged, and you already have to keep moving. Whereas if you have 2 nights, you can wake up the next day and just be like, oh, today I'm just going to relax and maybe explore a little bit, and I can focus on that. So the 2-night rule. And of course, in the past, and still to this day, sometimes we don't book accommodation. We just go somewhere and we'll find it there.
Yeah.
And this is possible, of course. You'll pretty much find accommodation almost anywhere in the world.
You might not get the best prices.
No, but you might, then again, you might get better prices too. So you arrive, it's easy to arrive in Bangkok and just find a place, but it's much easier to find it ahead of time using the internet again. And so book 2 nights in a hotel, basically, hostel world, hotel bookers, just, it's easy to find cheap hostels anywhere in the world.
That said, though, don't get trigger happy and order or book hotels for more than 2 days or 3 days or whatever, because A, the hotel might be terrible and you might want to leave, or your room is bad or something, and B, you want to be open, because if you book or plan out your whole vacation, say you're going away for 2 weeks, and if you booked the places to go at all times, it's just going to be like
you lose the spontaneity.
Yeah,
you can't be spontaneous. You can't, because you might arrive and feel like, you thought you wanted to stay in Bangkok for a week and go walk around and eat durian and look at temples. But then after 2 days, you realize Bangkok is terrible. Oh my God, it's so stressful, because it is. I just want to go somewhere else. That way you can just do it. You're flexible. So yes, 2-night rule, book it ahead of time after you booked your flight. So you have somewhere to arrive at. Yeah. And then you might want to also quickly look into how to get from the airport to the town that you're going into or whatever, so you don't have to figure that out at 2 a.m. in the morning when you arrive somewhere new. But you might not want to do it either. If you want to just have the adventure and just be spontaneous and just go with the flow, that's also fun. We've done a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it is fun.
It is.
Yeah. Crazy things that happens when you're out there just doing things randomly.
So time to pack your bags.
Yes. Okay. For us now, we're going to pack our bags on the same day as we're leaving.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because we have the whole day.
Yeah, and we're also very much used to it. We know, and we have so few things. I mean, it's just like pack everything I have into a bag and go.
Yeah. But of course, for most people, it's better to start a little bit earlier with the packing process. Maybe start thinking about it a week in advance.
Yeah, you might even want to plan it down, write down the things you think you'll need and stuff.
Yeah, and this is about being lightweight. This is important. And again, I've written a lot about this in the book.
We also have a few videos.
Yeah, I do have a few videos too. And I made a packing list even in the book, which is a list of what you could bring.
Most people bring way too much stuff.
Yeah.
Not realizing that you can buy all the things you need at the place.
If you need it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to think, oh, I might need this. No, if you think you might need something, leave it and then buy it there if you actually figure out you're going to need it. And you were saying?
No, I don't remember. But it makes the whole traveling process 10 times nicer. You can bring your backpack on the plane. You don't have to get the luggage, like pay for extra luggage. You don't have to stand in that endless luggage circle.
If you baggage claim, if you can't hold your backpack out with one hand like this, it's too heavy.
Yeah.
It should be pretty light. And a good rule is, if in doubt, leave it out. Just leave it out. Worst case scenario, you go with just your passport and some cards and some money and the clothes on your back, and you end up like, oh my God, I need this. Oh my God, I need that. No problem. There's human beings everywhere in the world, and they have the same needs. They have the same needs as you, more or less. and you'll be okay. You'll be covered. You'll have what you need. You'll be able to find it there. So don't have to pack everything you own.
No.
And if you go into the tropics, that's when you can really keep it lightweight because you don't need much clothes.
Yeah.
And you have to be sort of okay with sacrificing a little bit, because you have to, if you want to be really light, you have to be okay with walking around in the same clothes every day for several months. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, most of the time you don't wear a t-shirt maybe, or it's just, and you can just, wash it and hang it up in the sun, and it dries in like half an hour in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So
speaking of, I should dry my hair. I took a shower 2 hours ago, and if I don't let my hair out and leave it like that for a few hours, it stays wet for 2 days.
My hair, when I had dreadlocks a little while back, I would have wet hair for like 24 to 48 hours after going for a swim in the ocean or something, unless I sun dried it.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, much easier.
Yeah, quite light.
Yes. Pack light. Without going more into detail,
Mm-hmm.
pack light. Seriously, get a small backpack. Don't get those big backpacks that people get. Don't walk around like, it's just ridiculous how much stuff people bring with them.
Mm-hmm.
It just messes up your whole trip. Sacrifice a little bit in terms of what you bring, and you will gain so much in how you enjoy your trip and how much you're able to just be flexible and just jump on a train and jump on a bus.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly on the end, bike or no bike. Well, if you bring a bike with a trailer, you'll be more flexible to buy your fruit. But then again, you have to pay for the bike on the plane. You have to get it on the bus, and it's packing it, and it's a hassle.
Yeah. We've kind of realized that if you're going to bring a bike, it should definitely just be a direct flight.
Yeah.
Because then it's just easier.
Or at least you're going somewhere and you're staying there for 3 months, and then you're going back, even if they're more than one flight. But if you're going one place and you might go another place and you might skip over here and that sort of thing, you don't want to bring a bike. Okay, so tickets are booked. We're booked 2 nights and a hotel when we arrive. From there, we're going to take it as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And we've packed our bags super light with the most essential items. And the most essential items are pretty much just like a little bit of clothing, toothbrush, passport, book, and whatever little details you want. Maybe a computer. We always have a computer.
Yeah.
A little bit like that. If you're going somewhere and you're going to stay there for a little longer, and you're going to rent this house for like 3 months, then you could always just bring more luggage, because you're not going to be backpacking around. Like us now, we're going to La Palma.
Mm.
We're actually bringing 2 backpacks and a bag full of stuff, because I'm going to bring like 3 pairs of running shoes and that sort of thing. So that's a new thing for us, to travel a little bit heavier, but we're not going to sort of move around a lot, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So all that stuff, you pack your bags. What's the next step?
Well, you're obviously at the airport.
You're right there?
Airport. Yes, which is the most exciting part of the journey. Everybody loves airports, and everybody's happy there. I feel like there's such a good vibe at airports.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to open the door. It's so hot.
It is kind of. But yeah, it's like when I go to airports, I immediately become... I don't think I've ever been feeling bad at airports. You can look at all the people, everybody's walking around and being like, okay, we need to go from there to there. Feeling good.
Yeah, it's a positive vibe of everyone's excited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe a lot of emotions. A lot of people are sad, some people are happy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you guys like airports or not? Because some people like it, some people don't. So I would love to know what you guys think, if you actually enjoy airports or not. We personally enjoy them a lot. We like to, before we used to try and have as little time as possible in the airports. We still loved airports, where we thought it was good to be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But now we like to book more time in the airports, so we can just be super relaxed and take it easy and no stress, and enjoy the airport. In fact, we enjoy airports so much that we once missed a flight because we enjoyed the airport so much.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Singapore, Changi Airport, which is the coolest airport in the world. If you've ever been to Changi Airport in Singapore, or if you ever have the ability to do a layover there, you should definitely do so, because it is the coolest fucking airport in the world.
It's endlessly big, and carpets everywhere, and cinemas and gaming rooms, and
free cinemas.
Yeah,
you can. It's basically the most perfect airport in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just enjoying it, forgetting that we had to go to the transfer desk to get our new booking, our new boarding passes.
Yeah.
So we ended up not making it in time, and we ended up missing our flight. But of course, we were in Singapore, so we just went. We slept in the airport, and the next day we did a durian tour in Singapore and just ate lots of durian.
Yeah.
And then we came back to the airport and moved on, booked a new flight, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt, depends on the airport. He says depends on the airport. South Korea is very nice. Also Beijing. Seattle is old and dingy. Boston Airport was nasty last time I was there. There's a lot of bad airports in the world.
Yeah, some terrible ones. Remember Bali?
Bali
couldn't even be called.
I can't remember it at all.
Oh. It was terrible.
Or Doha was pretty bad.
Yeah, there were dates, but nothing else.
Aneta says she likes airports. It's sign adventure begins. Yes, she follows the signs here, there, left, right. Diane says overall she likes them. It usually feels like a new beginning to a new chapter. Some airports have horrible air quality. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, right. It's like you're moving forward.
Yeah,
watching people. Many people with many emotions. Yeah, you know what? I was once 10 hours in an airport alone, waiting for my flight,
mm-hmm.
and I was watching people. I enjoyed it a lot. I even went so far as to stalk people. It's crazy, but not in a bad way. You know, I was just like, I was far away from the person I was stalking, and I just decided to say, like, okay, this person, who is this person? You know, what do they want? What do they like? Where are they going? Where are they coming from? And I sort of just watched them for a little while, and if they walked a little bit, I might have followed them a little bit from like a 50 meters distance with lots of other people around, just to see, oh, they're approaching the restaurant. I wonder what they're going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to guess what they were going to eat. That's what you do when you're super bored in airports. But there's also this feeling of everyone's in the airport. It's closed off. It's like a strange situation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, you can't go outside. So we're all in this little thing together, and that makes it a little like a village.
Yeah.
It's a very strange feeling to be on airports.
Speaking of airports, how long you need to be there, we have a tendency to, well, we as you said, we used to try to have as little time in the airport as possible, meaning basically you
arrive there.
You can do it in 1 hour. All the process of arriving at the airport and sitting in your airplane.
It depends on the airport though, and it depends on the flight and the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
So but
generally speaking, if you only have your backpack, you can do it in 1 hour. Like if you're booking flights together, like if you're going to an airport and taking another flight at that airport, transfers.
Yeah, I don't understand.
You can do that in 1 hour. You can have one
transfers.
Hour.
Sure. Yeah,
that's pretty much the same, isn't it?
As arriving at the airport and getting a new flight. Not really, I think, because you're already in the airport. You don't have to go through security or anything. But it all depends, really. But yes, generally speaking, an hour is at the very, very least in both situations.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours is fine. That's like the ideal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want lots of time and you don't want to stress at all, you might want to put in like 2.5 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. 4 hours being the equal crazy of doing 1 hour.
Yeah, 4 hours would be ridiculously long.
Yeah.
And 1 hour would
Unless
be ridiculously low.
Changi Airport means 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours there, definitely.
4, whatever.
Yeah. So you're at the airport. Maybe you checked in online. You know, some places you can check in online, some places not. Enjoy the airport, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're on to your flight. And of course, you can bring food. This is an important point to mention because people don't know that always. You are actually allowed to bring food. You can bring your bag, and then you can bring food in addition to your allowed weight. So if you're allowed like 7 kilos of hand luggage, you can bring an additional bag of food.
2 kilos of bananas.
2 kilos of bananas, for example.
And
Dried fruit is, of course, very handy for fruitarians on the flights.
And other fruit that can be handled a lot. Like I'm going to bring apples, like the last apples or the last remnants of Norwegian autumn. Not ideal, but they do last easily on the plane.
Yeah, so we tried to bring durian once in Thailand, but that did not work. Not allowed.
We had to eat it.
We had to eat it all and burp for the whole duration of the flight, just to share it with everyone else.
Yeah.
So bring your food, in a bag. Plan ahead. It's important because, as we said, there's not much food at airports. And then enjoy the flight, of course.
Which can be very nice if you have a good flight, and very terrible if you have a bad flight.
Indeed. So quickly, let's talk about jet lag, because you arrive somewhere new and it's a completely different time zone, and you maybe you're underslept already because it's late for you. How to do that? Well, I'd say the best thing is if you can arrive somewhere. Like, it's better if you wake up at like 9 a.m. and you take a flight at like 12 p.m. And it lasts for 9 hours and it's 9 p.m. for you, you're ready to go to bed, right? Well, if you arrive somewhere where the time at that point is morning, then you have to go through a whole day before you can go to bed, and that's going to mess you up real bad. But if you can arrive somewhere where it's evening, of course, that's going to be better. That makes perfect sense, really. Everyone, it's obvious. So you could try to, book flights that suit you better in that sense.
You don't often have much choice, though.
No. So I'd say if you arrive somewhere and you have to wait, like if you have arrived somewhere in the morning, like when you're going east, basically, like when we're going to Thailand, it's often like that. We arrive, it's evening for us, but it's morning in Thailand. Don't go to bed and sleep for like 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. Don't sleep and then wake up in the evening and it's the evening there. You want to shift as soon as possible to the new time zone. But going a whole day before you get to sleep again, that might be also pushing it too far. So what we suggest is you arrive at the hotel, you get a couple of hours of sleep. No more than 2 hours. Just like a little bit of a rest. And then you take it easy for the rest of the day. And that way you're able to fall asleep at night. Or not, because
we did this as well one time in Thailand, and for like 3 days we were awake for 6 hours every night.
Yeah, jet lag is a biatch.
Yeah, it's the worst thing that's happened to me almost.
It was pretty bad.
But obviously, yeah, push your sleep. You can stay awake for, I don't know, 16, 17 hours without major consequences.
Yeah.
So you might want to do that.
But the bottom line is that there's no advice to give, really. It sucks, and you have no choice, and you're going to end up pretty messed up. That's just the way it is. Some people handle it better than others. Like some people don't get as badly out of it as others. I don't know. But in the end, it's going to take you a few days to get back to reality.
Yeah.
Get back to health. But there you are in your new location. Still jet lagged, but and you've spent your 2 nights, and all possibilities are open. You can go traveling here or there, jump on a train and jump on a bus, or stay where you are. Maybe you booked ahead, maybe not.
It's a good idea to stay in one place for a longer period, though. And I've seen a lot of people who I meet along my travels who are like, I asked them, "Oh, where have you been and where are you going?" And they've been like, "Oh, I've been to Bali, I've been to Indonesia, there, I've been to there, I've been to there, and I'm going there.
Yeah. And how long? 1 month.
Or 2 weeks.
What?
And that's, don't do that. You don't get to enjoy your trip. You might, in retrospect, think like, oh my God, so many awesome things happened. But in terms of feeling good and being healthy and actually having a good time, not just sitting on the bus, go to a place and stay there for an extended period of time.
Yeah, definitely. You get to that way you get to integrate into this community as well.
Yeah.
You become a normal part of the society a little bit. You get into a routine. You get to actually live somewhere, even if it's just for a few weeks, rather than just being a one-day tourist, And I just noticed now, Matt says, I don't like layovers because I just want to get to my destination. And yeah, I do know that feeling. Sometimes I felt like that too, but lately I've been more inclined towards spending more time getting to my destination and avoiding becoming too jet lagged and too tired from sleeping in airports. But that's the layover. So yeah, I know what you mean. Getting there as quickly as possible has its benefit too. But on the other hand, you could go the exact opposite way and say, rather than just having a layover, book a whole week, depending on how long you're traveling for. For us, when we go to travel for like 5 months, a week here and there doesn't matter. So, if we're traveling somewhere and it's a bad flight, maybe we'll just travel halfway, spend a week somewhere, and we've never done this though, but we're thinking about this as a way of doing it if we're going far. Spend a week somewhere, enjoy it, get over the jet lag, and then do the next part of the trip.
Yeah. Diane is talking about how feeling terrible while traveling might also have a lot to do with the air quality on planes.
Yes.
And that's very true. It is so dry. It is insane. My nose gets super dry. My eyes, I go into the toilet like 3 times and splash water in my face. Actually, I don't do that because it's usually soap in the water thing.
What?
Yeah. One time I was like rinsing my mouth, which I didn't like doing, but I was brushing my teeth and rinsing my mouth. I'm like, what the fuck? And there's soap in the water.
That's bad.
Very
but
bad.
Yeah, the flying I've come to realize flying is one of the most unhealthy things that I do. The air quality, the recycled air, the dryness, the pressure, I don't know, being up there, the whole ordeal, the time, the jet lag, it messes me up so bad. But that's the way it is. Yeah, Matt, if you break up the flight, doesn't it cost more? Well, not necessarily, it depends. You book your own ticket, so you can book, as I said, the example I said earlier, Oslo, New York, and I'll spend a week in New York, and then I'll book the next ticket from New York to Costa Rica, and I'll make it work so that it ends up cheaper. And if you think about it, the accommodation prices and wherever you're at, you would have paid accommodation. Every time I say it, I know it sounds wrong. Accommodation. I can't pronounce it properly. Accommodation. I say accommodation. I don't know. You would have paid for accommodation anyway, wherever you were. So if you take a week here or a week there, it doesn't really matter.
We can do a freighter cruise. Yes.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or
work on the boat.
Yeah, or a sailboat. That would be epic.
Yeah.
A little bit scary too, though.
Mm-hmm.
So just the last little thing here I would say is that where to stay, where to live. Well, hostels are okay for short periods. Depending on the country you're in, there could be a lot of cheap places to stay. Like in Thailand, you can get a hotel room. You get a long-term price where you can stay there for like a month and you get a super cheap price.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly, Matt said, no, it's not. The price of the ticket is irrelevant. It's just you pay from one place to the next place, and then whether or not you choose to stay there or not, or book another ticket, it all depends on the ticket. You have to basically. It all depends on the ticket. So yeah, a lot of cheap hostels, but then again, if you go on local pages, internet pages like Craigslist or even Facebook sometimes, and of course local pages or Gumtree in Australia and UK,
Mm-hmm.
you can find rooms for rent in normal houses, or apartments for rent or houses for rent, and you can rent something a bit more long term.
That's what we're gonna do on La Palma now. We're gonna rent either an apartment or a small house.
Preferably a small house, but
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, we have to rent an apartment. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we go on the local Spanish accommodation pages.
The wording you should use if you search online should be something like long-term rentals.
Yeah.
Or and usually in the language of the country you're searching in. Like if you're going to a Spanish-speaking country, you should search in Spanish because that's what the local people do.
Yeah.
And then there's other options like woofing, where you stay at a farm and you work and you get food and accommodation free. You're working for it. or work exchange things, or you can go camping, or you can couch surfing.
Yeah.
Search for that, couch surfing, if you haven't heard about it, where you sleep in people's houses for free, travel around. Pretty stressful, but it could be cool for a short period, or a long period if that's your personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you book your ticket home and you come home again, and that's also part of the trip, to come home. It's an amazing thing.
Beautiful feeling if you've been gone for a long time, like 6 months plus. The feeling of coming home is just epic.
Yeah, depending on what you call home and how attached you are to home, of course.
Yeah.
We are very in love with Norway, but of course this time of year now it's just
Death.
the whole time to our newsletter that comes out tomorrow. You're probably subscribed to our newsletter. If not, you can go to our website and subscribe. The newsletter that comes out tomorrow will actually have an article about why I leave Norway, health-wise, why I choose to leave Norway parts of the year.
Yeah.
So that's it, really. Traveling is an awesome thing, and it's
everyone should do it.
And if
they haven't done so,
and if you're in doubt, if you really feel like you want to travel or you need to go, but you're like, oh, what about this, or what about that, or this could go wrong, or this could go wrong, pay no attention to that. Just go, just do it. And the truth is, a lot of things are going to go wrong. There's always things go wrong. Things completely go wrong all the time. Yeah. But that's part of life. That's part of the journey. That's actually part of why traveling makes your life so awesome, because you're faced with these challenges that you have to overcome. And that helps you grow as a human being. And so embrace the challenges, embrace the doubt, and just trust that whatever situation comes your way in life in general, or out when you're traveling, you will be able to handle it. Yeah. And if you can't handle it, there's other people around you that will handle it. Even if you're traveling alone, you're not alone. There's people around you all the time, unless you're in the wilderness. Human beings are human beings, no matter where they are. They might not understand your language. It might be a different culture, but they are people, and they have similar, if not almost the same needs as you do. So, if you have a problem, someone will help you. If you're desperate, we like to think people will help you, though.
Yeah,
but
they will.
Have you seen some of those social experiments where people ask for help?
But if you're open, and like our mother has been very afraid of traveling alone to certain places, but she's just been like, I'm always guided, and she is. There's always people helping her. And
yeah, it's cool. Scary for everyone.
Yeah.
I remember when I first went to Jamaica all by myself many years back. It was pretty scary. But I
met a lot of people.
I met a lot of people. I was always helped along the way, and it was just I don't know. It's just a natural process. Someone comes in there and helps you. You might even call them angels or something like that. But if you just open up, there's people there to help you.
Yeah.
So just do it. Just go traveling. Just do it. And yeah, if you want it, you can make it happen, as long as you just take action on it. That's the key. Taking action.
I think it's about time.
Yeah,
we wrap up.
How's that sound, everyone? Is that good? Are
any of you guys traveling, going on a travel this winter, basically?
Yeah, let us know.
We're certainly looking forward to going to La Palma.
Yes, absolutely. Mango season on La Palma now.
Yeah.
And cherimoya season beginning, and the best cherimoyas ever, and avocados and papayas and amazing bananas. It's going to be
some good bananas.
It's going to be very nice to go all fruitarian again.
Yeah.
And yes, for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Now it's nice. Evening time, and in the evening we like to relax. So we're going to kick back and with the computer and just relax. Diane, I'm staying in New York City all winter, but I'm fine with that. That's cool. When you're fine with it, then that's fine, right?
Yeah. It's all about doing what you want, never being afraid to go travel,
and never being afraid to compromise. And or it might not even be a compromise, like Diane saying she's fine with it. Like it's been a compromise these last 2 months here in Norway in terms of health, but I'm fine with it. I've enjoyed staying here.
Yeah.
And New York City is so attractive. I'd like to go there. I think the climate is not as extreme as Norway, obviously, but there is snow during winter sometimes, I think. Makes me happy to see you both. Thank you, Diane. That's nice to hear. Glad to hear that.
Aneta will. My next trip will be to Poland. Nice. Summer 2017 after 2 years in being in Canada. Wow.
That's a long time. I'm sure that's going to be totally epic.
I have my only connection to Poland is the author Andrzej Sapkowski, who wrote the books Wiedźmin or The Witcher books, which is happens to be also the video game I'm playing at the moment. Very cool.
That game is so amazing. The graphics,
pretty crazy.
High quality stuff. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Going out. Aneta's also considering a short period on some island, maybe La Palma. Yeah, why not?
Will be cool. We'll welcome you.
Yeah, if we're there at that time. I don't think, probably not in the summer, but yes, do it. Make it 2 weeks even. Yeah, we'll get some more time. But even if it's 1 week, that's cool. All right, we're gonna finish up. Thanks for joining us today. It makes us very happy to see that you're here and you join us.
Sure.
It makes it worthwhile for us.
You love The Witcher too. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool. I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. And as I said, if you're watching this on YouTube later, you can always join the next monthly Hangout by joining us on Patreon. And be also sure to check out The Way of the Fruitful Traveler, the book about traveling. Thanks, Diane, for your great company as well. It's good to have you here, and it's a strange phenomenon. Sitting here in our kitchen in Norway and talking to people far away.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day, evening, night, and hope to see you on the next one.
Yes. All right. Next one will be from La Palma.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
That would be good. Probably a little bit earlier than this, just a couple of hours or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.